By the way, when people search your name, it says that you are a social media entrepreneur. I would like to ask, what does that even mean? I mean, what's the difference between?
Did I even write that?
I don't know. I don't really. No, I think
Social media entrepreneur.
it was also said during your previous podcast.
Okay. No, I guess you could say that.
I mean, what's the difference? Do you have any like business or maybe some creators that do support and kind of take 30% or something?
Yeah. No, we have some of that stuff. So I opened an agency, so we started doing brand deals, things like that. And obviously we have quite a few different Snapchat shows, different platforms. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a business at the end of the day. It is a business, and there's your personal brand, and then there's also kind of beyond that. You can expand beyond that, but I still think I still think a personal brand is the biggest equity you can have. I always thought about, you know what, if let's take someone in this, you know Gary Vee, right?
Yeah.
Gary Vee. Okay, let's say Gary Vee tomorrow lost everything. Okay, we snapped our fingers. He's got no money. He's got no VaynerMedia. He's got no Vayner Wines or whatever his other thing is. He's got no New York Jets. Did he own the New York? No, it's Patrick. But
no, that's Patrick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he just has. Some...
No, it's New York Yankees. Okay, whatever. I don't know this American sports stuff. Whatever. He likes the Jets. He loses everything. Guess what? He can get up tomorrow morning, wake up, make 2 phone calls, get a speaking gig for
100K.
100K. Bam, he's back in business. Just off his own being Gary Vee. So that's his business can go bust. His grapes could be stop growing, right? But he's still got himself. So I think that's a great investment for anyone, even for yourself, bro. I think at some point, I think personal brand for you would be great.
Yeah, I think. Look, I have a story with Gary Vee. I want to ask the same question to you that I was trying to ask him. I mean, in December, I was in Dubai and I was attending, I don't remember how it was called, but Gary Vee was a speaker there. Okay. And I had the chance to ask Gary Vee a question, and then one girl came and interrupted me. I mean, it was a funny story, actually.
You should have told her, have some empathy, you know.
I mean, it was a crazy story because I couldn't even do anything. She said something really crazy. I mean, so I went there, I found the mic because I knew that after his speaking engagement, there's going to be a Q&A. And I found the mic. I wanted to ask a question. I will ask you soon the same question. And I thought, well, I'm the first one in the queue. No one is going to be before me. And then when it came the time for the Q&A, Gary is now choosing the sectors from the stage and chooses my sector. And then a girl came here and said, you know, I've been before you. I said, what you mean? She said, yeah, you can ask the personal. I asked some workers there and they said, yeah, she just chose to sit there and wait. I said, okay, can you just do me a favor? You can ask whatever question you want to ask. But can you just say, I have another question at the end of your question? Mm-hmm. She said, oh, yeah, sure. And then she grabbed the mic and started crying. She started to cry and said that my best friend passed away recently. And I don't even remember if there was any question. She was just trying to find the support. And I don't know if that recording is going to be available someday or not, but when you see the recording, you will see that I'm just trying to run away from there, because if she said that she has another question and I ask my technical question, they would hate me. I mean, the whole stadium. So yeah, I kind of escaped the place. And the thing I was trying to ask Gary Vee is the transition from creator's mindset to an entrepreneur. I mean, everyone is starting as a creator. Someone is editing videos, someone is filming videos, and then they need to kind of shift their mindset into someone who need to create an ecosystem that can operate without them. Okay. In some cases, or maybe not be that busy that they are now. Uh-huh. So what's the shift for you, and how did you deal with the business? Because with the personal brand, I think it's going to be much, much harder.
I think
You can't outsource or I
the
don't
personal
know.
brand.
Yeah.
I think when if you're making your own videos and it's not so much formulaic, some people it's just they speak, let's say they do a podcast, they speak. People, they can get an editor to just chop up the clips, and it's kind of it's not easy, but it's more straightforward.
Yeah.
If you're making some kind of content on social media, at first you need to understand it yourself, because how can you teach it to somebody else if you don't understand it yourself? So you have to master it, all the little details, the hook, like you say, how to keep people's attention, the pacing of the video, the thumbnail, how to film it, the lighting, all of these things you need to understand fully. And at some point you can obviously lay that off to somebody else. For me, it was about, first of all, it was brand deals coming in. So when I started, there wasn't so much ad revenue and opportunities as there are now. So it was a lot of brand deals. So I teamed up with a good friend of mine who's a great business guy, and we opened the business together, and he was essentially my manager when it came to brand deals.
Yeah.
So he would negotiate on my behalf, and I think that was the biggest probably shift in when I started to make some money, because having someone to do the business side, first of all, it allowed me to focus on creating, but also brand deals are very hot at this point. And I think if you have somebody else to negotiate for you, you have a much bigger negotiating power than if you're doing it yourself. So I think that's the first step. If you're getting brand deal inquiries, you need someone. There are agencies, but maybe it's somebody that you trust and and has good sales skills, who can handle the brand deals, take a percentage, and can represent you.
Yeah.
It's important. It has to be the right person, but that's probably the first step. That can get some money coming in, and because they're representing you and not you representing yourself, it's much easier to obviously sell you, but also to sort of be the go-between between you and the brand.
Yeah.
Because if you're the brand and I'm speaking to you and I say $20,000 this brand deal, and you say, no, max, we got 15.
Yeah.
If there's no one in between, it's not, first of all, it doesn't look as professional. You have less perceived value. And secondly, there's no way to negotiate in a way that is not personal to you. You're the brand you're selling. And then, so someone in between can say, look, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. Luca doesn't usually perform for less than 20. So I can try and convince him for you to maybe we can, and then they can go back to them and say, look, I've spoken to Luca. I really want to push this over the line for you. He can do 17 and a half. Okay. And they say, oh, thanks so much. Yeah, that's great. So it kind of changes the dynamic. It's not me asking for more. It's not me saying, I want this, I want that. It's someone in between who's sort of in the middle, kind of neutral. Once you've done that, obviously there's different sides of it. You're going to build up a catalog of content, and you need it to be distributed, and that's another thing in itself. But that's a lot easier to have someone do, than
the distribution or the negotiation fees or something.
No, the distribution of the content. Once you've got content that you want to get out there, that's easier than the process of negotiating, because the negotiating is a skill in itself. Obviously an important skill.
I mean, then distribution is also very important. I mean, if I was all alone, I think, in this business 2 years ago, and then my mentor kind of really pushed me to break the limits to finally hire someone, because the problem was that I really liked everything that I was doing in my job. I mean, from the editing, from the clip coordination, from negotiation, everything. And they didn't really kind of want to give away my job to another one and also pay them. That was the problem. Yeah, and that's a mindset from being self-employed to kind of business owner. Let's say not an entrepreneur yet, but I think business owner is I think it's very crucial. And what you did is you kind of kept the creative sector of your job and just gave away the negotiation and the deal part.
That was the first one. Yeah, and then obviously, I think it's your first hire. There's got to be someone who's a bit of an all-rounder. Maybe it's an editor.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's an assistant who. My first hire was probably an editor. My second hire was probably an assistant, and went from there. But you're right. The problem is, I actually enjoy the business side. To be honest with you, I quite enjoy it. I don't think there's not many people who enjoy the creative and the business part. But I know that I can't be as creative as I can be if I'm consumed in the business side of it. So I can't do both. Maybe some people can, are just incredibly gifted, but me personally, I need to keep the two separate.
Yeah.
So by making the highs, it increased my creativity output. Whereas before I was doing things myself, and it would take up my mental bandwidth very quickly.
Yeah.
You know.
How did your first employees help to your business? I mean, did you really notice the spike?
Spike?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, the first brand deal, the brand deals was the first money I made.
Yeah.
And then that was great. And then I don't know, in my social media, in my personal brand, I don't know whether it made a spike. It just freed me up to make more content. I think the spike came when I was creating more content, and the reason I was creating more content was because I had more time to create the content. So it wasn't like, it's not a normal, because I was at the front of it creating. That was more what it was. So I had tasks that were taking up my time, energy, time vampires were offloaded. Stuff like the editing could improve and be quicker, and I could just focus more purely on ideas, creating, filming.
Yeah.
You know?
Didn't you have this feeling that no one can do this better than you at the time?
They can't.
Even the editing.
The editing, yes. The editing,
Yeah.
training an editor. I actually, well, he doesn't work with me now, but like the first editor I hired full time was an Armenian guy.
Yeah.
And at first, he's great now. Even now I'll work with him from time to time because he kind of understands it. But it was difficult to train him because they have a certain mindset of how an edit should look. But I know how to edit a viral video.
Yeah.
You understand?
I guess he came from a television background.
No. He was doing Upwork. He was doing projects. So he was.
Oh, okay.
So he was easier to adapt. But I can edit myself. I know how to edit, and that's the good thing. I knew how to do it first, but I just know. I have an instinct for it now, and I know where to cut. I know what the hook is. I know how fast to pace it. I know how to introduce the twist at the end.
There's the psychology behind.
I know where
everything.
to put the subtitles on the screen so that it doesn't distract from the video. Like all of these little things, where to put an arrow, where to put a little ding sound effect, where to put the music in, all of that stuff. I just knew it instinctively now. So to kind of, I had to work with him extremely closely for ages until he got the hang of it. And even then we had, I think the best kind of employees that they have their own opinion. So you'll give them like, you'll tell them how you want it. And they'll say, actually, what about this? And sometimes you might say, mate, that's a terrible idea. We're not doing it that way. Now, as long as they're okay with that, they're fine. I find Armenians quite good for, they don't take it personally. In England, you have to be a bit more sort of like, I like how you did that, but maybe if we try it, just make a little, you have to sort of tiptoe around it. But here you can be a bit more direct. So I'd say, yeah, you oh, fuck. Oh, that was good. That was magic. What was I saying? Okay, yeah. So worked very closely with him, and then after a while, I could work. He just got it. He just got it. And maybe I'd make a few small tweaks, and by giving him the freedom to, give me his own ideas, sometimes he'd come up with a better idea than me,
Yeah.
and that'd be great.